Welcome back to the Reality Guys. I'm your host, Billy Blinks, joined as always by my co-host, Brett.
What's up,
We're
Team
back to
Cory?
talk BB25, guys. This is episode 19. This was an eviction night. What we thought was the last eviction going into forming our jury. This is, just for reference, we are airing and recording September 14th, just so this is a few hours after the episode is aired. We are going to also talk about the head of household result post the episode. So if you don't want to know about that, we'll wait a few minutes to bring that up. But just be warned, we are going to talk about that. Brett, this was a crazy week, right? I think for people like myself who aren't Big Brother diehards, this is a kind of a week I've been looking for. I've been looking for basically the alliances to be exposed, ready for people playing both sides to have to pick a side and have to expose to people who think have been their friends the whole time where they really lie. I like the idea of some battle lines being drawn. I like the idea that Cirie and Jared and stuff are being brought more into the light. I like Cirie, but I also think that this game's been a little boring because somehow she's sat very insulated, which has always baffled me that people can't put together that she's like a ringleader. Like I just don't get that at all. We said that back when we were watching the traders too. Like, yeah, listen, everyone knows who this lady is, right? Like, why are you guys acting like she's being just super sweet? That's not the game, right? So I've been very pro it. I want to talk about the elimination and such as well. But like, what were your thoughts on the week? And then if you want to just segue into the eviction tonight, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, so this week is what I've been waiting for because this is like why I love the show Big Brother. So when I try to like get other people that don't watch it to watch it, and then basically most the episodes and weeks leading up to now have been kind of predictable and boring. And some seasons follow that format, and it's really annoying because I'm even a little bit bored of that. With obviously Cirie was playing a great game. She had her very insulated alliance, but we always knew who was going to go home. And going into this one, I really didn't know. I mean, going into the actual episode tonight, I had no idea that they were about to flip the house. So the fact that Cory actually had his moment to shine and he went and talked to everybody after he got that info from America that Matt spilled and XYZ, everyone's spilling their alliance to
Gang
everyone.
spilling or allegedly spilling.
Yeah, like I just love the way Cory was able to, like, I guess, take that information he got and run with it to actually flip this on its head. And now Cirie, who, like you said, she basically was the ringleader. She's on the outs now, I guess. People might still like her and want to work with her to some extent, I guess, but she no longer has the power that she held for the past 5 weeks or however long this had been going on. So it was a great episode, and I'm very excited for what's next to come.
So Izzy was evicted. That was the plan. Once the idea of there being more than one alliance out there and the kind of shadow alliances, and like you said, Cory feeling like he just couldn't trust Izzy, and that he realized, which is the truth, he was not part of their inner core. Like he would have been jettisoned before any of the three of them, frankly, and he may not even they may have not have let him got into four because of not wanting him to be a viable winning candidate, right? So I think it was the right move. And look, I like to, I don't care. I mean, I was okay with Izzy. I didn't really, not crazy pro or against, but the fact, like, why protect them that much? Why go down with Jared and Cirie? And even what's her name asked that Julie. She asked. She was like, "Why didn't you use that? Like when you knew you were on the block, like why didn't you use that info?" And she's like, "Well, it may sound dumb, but I felt like
Okay, what? So you remember that
what."
my internet lagged a little, but so yeah, I don't know how that would have helped Izzy though.
No. I'm not saying even just in this moment per se, but like the idea that like she actually, I don't know, it was such a valuable piece of information, and it to like line up with Cirie and them. I feel like weeks ago she could have used that to transition herself into one of these other groups outside of them, because at the end of the day, it's always going to be Cirie and Jared connected, and possibly Miss Felicia, like depending, right? But even this week, it was like, well, we can lose Felicia. If we have to lose her, we have to lose her. Like, whatever. They don't care about anybody else. And so, again, I don't think they should. But it's just the fact that like they've been able to scatter. Jared, I don't like how he deals with trying to play the gameplay. Frankly, his gameplay is as like subtle as like a baseball bat. He goes in, he denies, he aggressively goes after people for saying that they're liars. He's a liar. Makes everyone tell. I just never really thought he ever made an actual point. Like the fact of the matter is too, he's holding the biggest lie in the entire game. So why would you just so outwardly make that a point? Because if that comes out while he's still in the house, he's done, right? He's completely done. So like, why would you be the guy that went after people for rumors or lying? Like, I don't still get
And
his
from what
game.
we've seen, Jared's game looks really sloppy. But like for whatever reason, people are trusting him. Like the fact that Cameron, I think like he was literally Cameron's number one ally this week.
Yeah.
Cameron just got nommed by Jared, but he's like, "Oh no, I was just the pawn. I was the pawn." Bro, you don't put like your number one, two, three, four person up as a pawn. That just doesn't happen. And if you
No.
think that's how it goes, then you're clueless and you don't get the game. So, I don't know. Like Jared, I don't know how he snuck. I mean, there was a lot of targets for Cameron for sure, so he didn't need to go after Jared because he still had several people to choose from. So I'm glad he got one of them. And I'm really intrigued too. With it seems like this week, Felicia. I didn't realize how on the outs Felicia was with her crew because they were ready to
Yeah.
cut her and save Izzy, and they said she was being annoying and stuff like that, which I honestly had Felicia probably as my winner pick just because I felt like she was so much of a non-threat slash integrated into the main alliance that she was just going to float slash maybe win one or two things to the end and win the whole show. But
Maybe just being too close to that though over time is almost like radiation, right? Like it's like you're gonna, if you get on the outs with them at all, you're gonna get jettisoned, and that seems like what it's gonna be. I'm just very curious how the next like 2 weeks or so, 2 to 3 weeks are gonna play out, just as far as like, do they keep that core together? And this is why I want to talk now. Full heads up, guys, we're going to talk about the head of household competition. It was quick. What is that wall grab thing called, Brett?
the wall comp.
Wall comp. That's what it literally is. So the wall comp was tonight, right after the eviction. Only went 45 minutes or so per the live feed stats on Twitter. And Jared won. So Cirie's safe, right? This week. Um, who does he put up? He fought with Cory, right? So Cory might seem like a pretty obvious choice. And then does he go Cameron? Because, like you said, he was willing to throw him up before. Does he put Matt and him up? Like, or does he put America and Cory up at the same time? Like, what do you think makes the most sense?
I think so. I heard he argued with Cory at some point. Plus, with this whole flip, Cory orchestrated, which they know Cory orchestrated it. So I don't know how that actually slipped because yeah, Cirie was the only one that voted to save Izzy. So that means that it somehow slipped from someone.
Yeah,
So
no. So I have that. So Cory, and then they went around, they talked about it. Izzy was always the original idea. They started to bring people in. They wanted to decide how they were going to do it. And it started to be like, okay, let's just talk to people like Jag. Let's talk to people and let them just know, like, this is what we're doing. And like, yeah, I know, hey, I have been close with Izzy, but frankly, I don't trust Cirie. I don't trust Jared. And allegedly, after this had occurred, Jag went and had a conversation with Jared and kind of informed him of it, which at the time he thought the idea was that they were going to be going with Felicia. So that was where the confrontation started. Jared came in, and then that's where Cory was like, "Well, I heard that you told Jag." It started to be this thing where Cory's like, "Well, tell me what the lies are." He's like, "Well, the seven deadly sins stuff and these other and the other 7-person alliance. Like there are multiple alliances, and it seems to be like a common denominator that like you're in the middle of all of it." And we talked about like there was a lot of yelling, and Cory kind of also yelling back. It turned into a full family meeting where like the whole house is in the room basically outside of Izzy basically, and they're all saying like, well, you said this to me. Oh, I didn't say that. And so it's hard to fully follow like who's fully telling the truth. But the whole thing that you really need to know out of it is that like Cory and Jared completely on opposite sides. Matt seemingly now more with Cory than Cirie and Jared, because basically now of all this exposed, like what is he supposed to do? Even though he has been friends with Cirie, I do think that Cirie and Jared are going to be exposed. But the fact is now he's safe, and ostensibly she's safe as well. So it's just going to be crazy, man. And now with it being 7 for the jury as opposed to 9, um, you have to think about like who won't vote for you, right? if you're Jared. And I think that's why you got to put like a Cory and
That's
you got to put America up, right? Neither of them would in any way ever vote for him. So like
that's probably what the noms
they
are.
got to
Yeah,
go.
Cory and America are two solid options. If I mean, I know Jared doesn't really like Jag that much, so I think Jag could be a solid backdoor. But based off what I know, Cameron knows, or at least did know. If I were Jared, I wouldn't target Cameron because Cameron seems to like and be loyal to Jared. So I mean, hopefully he doesn't go
If
that
he
route.
so how's this going to work though? If he nominates them both, they're just automatically both gone. How's this double elim? How do double elims usually work?
It's like a week in an hour. So he'll like this whole week will play out normal, and on eviction night, someone will get evicted, and then within an hour or two, they'll basically do an HOH. Um, they'll do
Oh,
a
they'll
veto,
like do
and they'll do
a
an
mini
eviction.
week almost.
Yeah, so like within the live episode, someone gets evicted, and they'll do an entire HOH veto eviction in that same hour.
That's sick. All right, cool. Awesome. Look, big upswing for the season. I think overall it's been a good season. I haven't disliked my viewing. Check out our playlist. Check out our TikTok as well. Brett's been doing a good job covering on both funny clips, things like that as well. Just kind of keep you up to date. Next week, preview week for the reality guys. There is about like 4 or 5 season previews specials that we have in the can for new seasons of shows like Amazing Race, Survivor, The Challenge, House of Villains, Bachelor in Paradise, and The Golden Bachelor. So yeah, we'll have like 5, 6 or so that we'll have out all next week, leading up into the premieres of those seasons. The video released right before this one will have been the season 9 premiere of Southern Charm. Brian and I covering the Bravo shows like we like covering. This is a very conflict-filled season from what we saw in the trailer and from what you'll see on Twitter. So a lot of Vanderpump vibes this season, and so we'll see where the audience is with that. And yeah, a ton of shows this fall. So make sure you're subscribed here and on TikTok, and you'll miss nothing.
Tell me
But
if you want Buddy Games coverage because I watched Buddy Games.
I haven't recorded, so we may have at least a season should you watch it video at least for Buddy Games, and then we'll see week to week if it's worth covering. But until next time, for myself and Brett, thank you.